Hola, Kaipacho with the weekly Pele report. Wednesday, April 5th. Yes, indeed. It's happening. And we've got this moon in Libra. She is coming into a full moon tonight here in California, 9:34 tonight. But, that may be tomorrow in some places. But, yeah, I'm going to be talking about that because it's exactly opposite. Not only the sun, but the sun is exactly conjunct Chiron, the wounded healer in Aries. So we'll be talking about Aries, Chiron, the sun in opposition to the moon. If you look at that chart at the beginning of the report, you can see that the moon is highly outnumbered. She is the only so-called planet, on the Western Hemisphere, next to Mars. It just went into Cancer, but it's like the moon against everybody. Feeling those emotions a little bit with this one. Yeah, we're going to be talking more about that. By Friday, she goes into Scorpio, and on Saturday she'll oppose Uranus and hit the south node of the moon, and Sunday she trines Neptune and opposes Venus, and and then on Sunday she goes into Sagittarius, right? Squares Saturn, and Monday moves along to trine Chiron, the sun, and Jupiter from Sagittarius. So there'll be a shift in energy next week, Monday, but this weekend is pretty intense. So we'll look into that. In the meantime, by next Tuesday, the sun will conjunct Jupiter. So, the sun's really working with this Chiron-Jupiter conjunction that has been going on, like I say, for a couple weeks. It's kind of separating now, but yeah, you'll still be feeling it. We'll see. I'll talk about it, see if you're feeling it or not. In the meantime, Venus is in the late degrees there of Taurus, and by Monday, she's going to move into Gemini. So there'll be a shift there. So yeah, big shift next week, but for right now, we are full on. I'm going to talk about what that means. She's trine Neptune up there in Pisces on Friday, and Mercury is moving right along. It's a sextile Saturn and conjuncts the north node of the moon today. Mercury conjunct the north node of the moon. Nice time for a Pele report, right? And then he'll come along and sextile Mars by Friday. So these are the main aspects we're looking at. And let me just have a seat. This is one of my favorite spots on the river. It's high water, and it is freezing cold. I don't think I'll be going swimming in there after today's report. All right. All right, it's pretty precarious out here, so I'm going to get going on this baby. The wind comes along every once in a while, blowing up the canyon. Just blew my tripod over here. I don't know about the old outside office happening anymore. Hiking out to do these reports. I could sit in front of the fireplace like last week. It was great. Anyway, we'll be spontaneous. We're out in nature. I want to read to you about nature. So beautiful. Sun conjunct Chiron at the 16th degree of Aries. I'm going to close with that because it's so beautiful. But in the meantime, let's do our little freak out together. Life is freaking out. And I have to say, I'm in the United States. This place is crazy. I can't wait to get home to Costa Rica. It's nuts around here. And there's just like this vibe, especially here in California, that is just like, it's uncomfortable. It's just not soothing, And the moon in Libra wants soothing. And Mars in Cancer wants soothing. And Sun conjunct Chiron wants soothing. And Venus in Taurus wants soothing. We need to soothe ourselves. What a great word. Oh, but what do I want to talk? I want to talk about relationships because this is an overarching theme going on. Relationship, partnership. South node of the moon moving through Scorpio. Started in January of 22. In July, it's going to go into Libra. And then, towards the end, right, of 24, it's going to go into Virgo. So we have this 3-year period, 22, 23, 24, where we've got this past life dharma, past life relationships, past life karma, past life, everything coming up for the soul to deal with, work through, balance, integrate, and come to that north node of the moon in Taurus, self-sufficiency. Okay, the answer lies within. And then into Aries, aligning my personal ego will with a higher dimensional divine will. And so there is this, like I've been talking about, this getting out of codependency, but there's just so much to learn in these relationships and partnerships that it's not like you have to not be in one in order to be self-realized, because we're going to deal with it in the way that New Paradigm Astrology looks at it, is these relationships are mirrors of ourselves. And let's face it, you can see things in a mirror that you can't see without it. Especially if you turn around, you can see stuff on your back. In a mirror, okay? And you might feel something on your face, but you really don't know what it is, right? Until you look in a mirror. So, relationships, other people mirror back to us our unconscious, our subconscious, our projections. And the moon in particular now, the moon is the subconscious. It's our inner emotional world that is not fully, just not fully, it's not this ego so much. It's subconscious. And it raises its head like a dolphin coming out of the water, and we can see that subconscious every once in a while. But when the moon is in Libra, we're going to see it a lot more. And the moon reflects the light of the sun. So it is this reflection back to us. So we can really see ourselves. And not even so much in the relationship, but our expectations, our fantasies, our dreams, our projections, what we want, what we're seeking, what we're looking at. And the danger, okay, Sun conjunct Chiron in Aries. Chiron is our wound. We're all dealing with this wounded masculine, this wounded will, this feeling of impotence, this feeling of not getting what we want, Aries, getting angry about it, getting upset, getting distraught, going into feelings of despair and hopelessness, or self-shaming and guilt. Maybe I don't deserve it, or I'm not worthy, or I don't deserve to exist. I'm a peon. I'm a grain of sand on the beach. I guess I'm just nothing, and I'll never get what I want. And why even bother trying? And just throw in the towel. Forget it. Jump overboard. I'm out of here. I mean, it's really healing this wound of undeservedness, of impotence, of my warrior, my will, my spontaneous desires emanating from the soul. I want that cookie. I want that relationship. I want that money. I want that position. And then not getting it, bam, slap in the face. We're all getting slapped in the face these days. And we need to look at it. And we look in the mirror and go, oh, yeah, look at that. There's a red mark on my face. But no, seriously. There's 3 reasons, basically, why we don't get what we want, why our dreams are not, fulfilled or come into manifestation. And this can also have a lot to do with relationship and partnership, the difficulties, the challenges that we have, that we face, either because we're alone and there is no partnership and we wonder why, or we're in a partnership relationship and it's rocky, bumpy, and not fulfilling and we wonder why. Or, we're ending a relationship and, because it was just too hard or, it wasn't working or didn't feel right and we wonder why. So we have these, there's different, we could say karmic, reasons for this that I want to go into with you here today and just kind of look at the different scenarios. And now the way that we want to look at this is from a spiritual perspective. The evolutionary astrology tells us there are dual coexisting desires within the soul. The new soul wants to emerge from the source that created it, individualize, create, get in touch with its power and, be a ray of light from that sun and be special and unique and the genius and blah, 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 manifest everything that I can possibly co-create. And then there is the return. This return to source wants to return. The wave wants to return to the ocean of consciousness, right? The ocean of oneness. And so there is this. Now, if you are, really, and of course we have the different evolutionary stages. I'm not going to go into that today. You can look at that in my school or online. But the consensus, the individuated and the spiritual. And what we want to understand is that if you're on a spiritual path, and that's what I'm going to be talking to today. Okay, you are a wave that is wanting to return to the ocean of oneness. You are a wave that has, kind of like, all right. Been there, done that, seen it, I want to go home. I'm ready to reconnect. I'm ready to, experience divine love, divine union with all that is the source of creation and really surrender my ego, separation consciousness in order to experience the totality. So if we are in this, when we are on this path, okay, towards this union and spiritual oneness, we want to look at relationship and the role of relationship in that journey back to source. So we want to look at number one, one reason, okay, that dreams don't manifest or that, this relationship may not be happening is the timing. The timing. It's like it can be too soon or it can be past. So we are in a third dimensional Saturnian time-space reality, and as such, there is a time and a place and a season for everything. So just think of it. In an innocent, naive, youthful energy, we can dream and we can fantasize like the little boy wants to be a fireman. And he sees the fireman and he, pretends that he's a hose or whatever, and it's like, yes, I want to be this. So, we can have images, we can have dreams, we can have fantasies that are attracting us, that are drawing us, that we, that are inspiring us to evolve certain characteristics, traits, soul qualities, and a relationship can be that. And we can idealize, okay, this relationship or this other person, and and that in itself can be enough. That can be, what the purpose of that relationship is about is really to inspire, you to develop something. But You're not ready. You've got more inner work to do. You've got more, ego development, or there's self-development, self-consciousness, self-awareness, discrimination, maturity. There's all these other different qualities that can come in before the little boy can be a fireman. So you can't just always get what you want if you're not ready for it, and if you haven't done the work. You may be super attracted to somebody who is like really self-secure, and they're on a spiritual path, and they are awakened and enlivened, and then you're like, well, yeah, I want that. Okay, well, do your inner work and become self-sufficient, and and then you can have that. You get it? Second, right? The other one can be it's you've kind of been there, done that, you've seen it, and you're kind of repeating a pattern, of relationship, okay, and you're just, projecting out another, another image, another savior, another rescuer that's going to, come in, another mother or another father, and you're just doing it again. You're doing it over again. Not going to work. I mean, of course, a lot of these things can work for a short period of time, but you will find yourself, and this is particularly with the second one. The second one, when things don't work out, when dreams don't manifest, when relationships don't pan out according to your, according to your desires and your hopes and wishes and dreams for that relationship and partnership. The second reason is that these things are to teach us about our own illusions and delusions. And that, again, you can't always get what you want. These things may not always work out because you are not aware of your unconscious directives, your unconscious, it's like the unconscious is the soul is the captain steering the ship of your life, and you're a passenger, man. You need to get in touch with the captain, and really find out if this is in the best interest of your evolutionary intentions for this lifetime, or if this is some kind of, so what we have is, and some of this can even be karmic, even from past lives, right? Where what is a common one is the God complex. I think I'm God and I can create whatever I want. The ego is huge. We won't mention a few of those huge egos that are on the front lines of the papers these days, but there are huge egos all over the place, particularly in spiritual institutions. Anyway, but this God complex is, just like, okay, you're too big for your britches, and you need to, experience that it is disillusionment. Disillusionment that that really your will, your ego will, is not in charge, and you are not capable of having this, that, or the other thing. You need to tune in. You need to, and this is where astrology comes in, and yoga, meditation, tarot, plant medicine. I mean, these are all pathways, right, to understanding the soul that reincarnates, that has an intention and a program for this lifetime. There's a certain soul destiny. It's in your birth chart. And these relationships are either in alignment with that soul destiny, okay, or you are, maybe, wanting to create something that is contradictory, that is, at odds, at cross purposes to, really this returning to the source. It's not going to return you to the source, right? You're playing out another complex dynamic from your childhood, from past lives, from your conditioning. You have erroneous views of what fulfillment is, of what success is, of what the end game is. And your goals are out of alignment with your soul intentions. And so again, this can be, these relationships can go on for a while. It's not like you can't have it, but you'll hit a wall, you'll hit a void, you'll hit an emptiness. It won't be fulfilling, or it will not be the success that you envisioned or imagined or whatever, right? Because it's, and this can be also around codependency. That you think this person is the answer to your problems. You think this person is going to bring you happiness and change your life, and everything's going to be fine if you could just be with this person. Ow! The games people play, baby. Number 3. Number 3, has more to do with like relationship and partnership that is in alignment. There is this pathway, like I said, that the mirror is not clouded, it's not dirty, it's not distorted, it's not one of those, that you get at the, the festivals or something, the weird mirror where you'll stand in front of it and, you're huge or tiny or skinny or fat or, oh God, right? But that this partnership, that this other person is a good mirror for you. And you do evolve. Evolution is self-discovery. You start discovering and you start seeing, you start understanding, and it builds you up, and it helps you to heal this Sun Chiron in the first house of Aries, with Jupiter. I'm going to get more around to to that also, but we want to say that these relationships can assist us on our journey back to source. And how can they do that? Primarily I'm going to say that it has to do with when the couple seeks source together. And they're not looking for the answer in the other person, but with the other person. And that the relationship and the goal of the relationship, is illumination. And they're both going for tantra, sacred sexuality, moving into, dynamics, of really, opening their hearts to not just Venus, personal love, but Neptune, universal love, universal consciousness. And they're surrendering to love through practicing surrendering to another. So there are all kinds of dynamics that can really, pan out very beautifully and very powerfully. Yeah? So, but right now what we want to understand is this can be very challenging because the sun is conjunct Chiron. And, this can just really bring up the blues. It can bring up feelings of hopelessness, feelings of, like I said, this is not going to happen. I don't believe in myself. I don't have enough will forces. I don't, I'm too wounded, or I don't deserve, or all the different wounds that each one of us has uniquely. You have to see where this Chiron Sun Jupiter conjunction is falling in your chart. Where is 16 degrees of Aries? Do you have planets there? What house is it in? You can get far more specific with all of this, of course, by looking at what it's doing, in your natal chart for you right now. But just generally, because this Paleo Report is a general, work, is that don't forget, the wound becomes the medicine. Going into the causes, Chiron opens up our hearts, it opens up our souls, opening up our wounds, it's painful. It has to do with suffering and defeat. The 5 of Swords tarot card that I talked about in last week's report. Okay, it really comes into the lessons around and the awareness that can come. And and we live to another day. We live to move on and move through. So we have to really come into, okay, this very, very going in. The hero's journey is into the causes, researching, investigating. Did my mother tell me I was never gonna get this, or I should not do that, or did the church come along and say this, that, or the other, or is the government have I caved in? Have I had previous partners that didn't give me what I wanted and I feel guilty? There's so many causes and reasons. Is my will in alignment with my soul? Am I an instrument of something higher and greater? Or am I going to be some kind of, conqueror and, just, think that I can, get more for I, me, my? Don't forget, we're all cups. We get filled up in order to, give to other people who are thirsty. Yeah, that's what life is all about. We gather it up and then we let it out. Just like the moon, becomes full and then she lets it all out. So this moon in Libra is also, let's just look at this dynamic of Aries Libra, because we need to balance these polarities. And balancing these polarities deals with impulse, whether it's, anger, spontaneous, will, unconscious, just like charging and taking and, not seeing, realizing that other people have needs too, versus, the empath that, is so aware and so in other people's needs and other people's longings, and, it's so into the mirror and trying to please the mirror, and just, putting up a false front, being so diplomatic, so tactful, so nonviolent, so agreeable, compromising and cooperating to the point where they lose themselves and their will and orbit around somebody else. The partner becomes the God or the source, and you want to return to the source, and you think it's the partner, but guess what? You get thrown back to your wound, and then your wound is painful, so we run back to relationship and partnership. Oh, they're going to save me. And then the relationship and partnership says, no, you have to deal with your wounds. So we're kind of doing this ping pong right now, where we got to do our inner work in order to make our relationships work. And whoa, it gets bloody, dirty, messy, gooey in there. The beautiful part is the Sabian symbol for the full moon. Ow! Yeah, baby. Comes, yeah. Sabian symbols come through again, how to manage this, how to handle this. This is so beautiful because, Libra is an air sign. It has to do with objectivity. It has to do with, consideration. Let me read you the Sabian symbol. It is a retired sea captain watches ships entering and leaving the harbor. The capacity to gain an objective and calm understanding of human experiences in which one was deeply involved. As to say, lost, perhaps. Deluded, perhaps. Innocent, perhaps. Old age may or may not bring to a person this objective and calm understanding as one remembers the crises overcome and the quiet enjoyment of great life vistas or peak experiences. But wisdom and inner serenity can hardly develop save on the basis of the overcoming of struggles and conflicts. The sea captain sailed his ship through storms and still waters of consciousness, his mind perhaps battered by gales, his ego crew perhaps in revolt. Now there is peace and quietude. Another generation is sailing seas, better charted perhaps, yet inherently non-rational, and at times savage in their fury. He watches. He knows. Others are learning. At any age, the ego will may retire and contemplate and be at peace before a greater voyage over even more poorly charted seas. The return to source. Venus rules Libra. Yeah. And she has been conjunct Uranus. She is. So there is this kind of radical shifting and changing, breaking up of the icebergs like the Titanic hit one. Maybe the sea captain survived the Titanic. Maybe you have survived this relationship or this life crisis, but there is great wisdom through the observation and this great learning through what we are all learning over these next 3 years as Saturn transits Pisces, as Neptune closes its 14-year through Pisces, the oceans. Yes, and that is this retirement from ego will action. Rather aligning the will. It's not my will, it's thy will. It's the will. This is Wu Wei, the path of non-action, the path of flowing like that river and feeling the current. And you can steer and you can paddle. I can't wait to do some whitewater rafting, you know, it's beautiful. But do not underestimate the power of the river, the power of your soul, the power of your destiny. What will be, will be. And when you find yourself fighting, when you find yourself in conflict, this can be your immature ego will that is either naive or perhaps too big for its own britches and needs an adjustment. So yeah, we hit the rocks. I've flipped over whitewater rafting before. I know what it's like to smash my head on a rock. I've done it too many times, man. Anyway, the other thing that I gotta go for here is I want to close now with the, and this is just like, yeah, it's not just the river, but it is all of nature is our teacher. It was so great today. I'm sitting here underneath the oak tree and I'm just contemplating, what am I going to say on the Pele report? And a seed, a bud, drops and falls on my sleeve and just sits there, Everything is in the seed. All it needs is fire, earth, air, and water. Brings us back to astrology. Oh, God. Okay, so you want to heal your wound. You want to really go into your wound. You want to really go into this Chiron. You want to really understand the nature of impotence, of, my frustration perhaps at being overpowered, losing to forces beyond my control, or just bumping up against. I mean, I have been bumping up against what? The bank, okay, the airline, the insurance company, the car register. I mean, the car mechanic. I mean, it's just like, holy Jesus. Not only can you not get a hold of a person, they don't even answer the phone anymore. Put you on hold. I mean, there's so much, frustration happening, and this is going to increase here for a little while, and we can really get pissed off, and that is, that it's triggering us, and we just really want to understand and see that, to heal that, to work with that, okay, as part of our work is Chiron in Aries, and the sun today, but for the past couple of days and for the next few days to come, is shining the light on this wound of I can't always get what I want. What should I do? Nature spirits are seen at work in the light of sunset. Attunement to the potency of invisible forces of nature. In the light of personal fulfillment, in parentheses, this is the symbol of the sunset and wisdom. We may be able to establish a life-giving contact with natural forces. These are active anytime growth processes take place. But our individualized mind is usually too focused on working for consciously set goals to be able to realize concretely the presence of invisible or occult forces in operation, soul forces. These forces constitute a specific realm of any planetary life. They are inherent in all biospheres, on whatever planet. They are non-individualized and unfree energies forming in the substratum of all life processes, thus of the process of integration at the level of the planet as a whole. We're talking nature spirits, we're talking gnomes, we're talking fairies, we're talking dragons, we're talking unicorns, we're talking angels, there's so many, yes, spirits, spiritual entities, forces, supporting us, holding us, feeding us. You have to tap into these hidden realms, even within the own cells of our body. The planet as an organism, Gaia. We are like little cells that, of Gaia. We're little hairs. We're a tiny little fingernail. That's if you're big. With its automatic systems of growth, maintenance, and organic multiplication. In this planetary organism, those nature forces act as guiding and balancing, harmonizing factors, somewhat as the endocrine system does in the human body. Yeah, think of your thyroid, pineal, think of all your glands, ovaries, testes, get the whole endocrine system is so, that's another video. And behind this system, the more occult web, more hidden web of chakra energies related to prana, the solar energy. It is when this energy becomes less dominant at sunset, symbolically, or when the body energy is weakened by illness, fasting, or sensory deprivation, that it becomes easier to perceive these nature spirits and to give them forms that symbolize the character of their activities. These forms differ with the cultural imagery of each human collectivity, retaining nevertheless some basic similar characteristics. Here's the grand finale for today. When this Sabian symbol reaches into the consciousness of the seeker, it should be seen as an invitation to open your mind to the possibility of approaching life in a holistic and non-rational, read moon or lunar, intuitive manner. It implies a call to repolarization. What this means also is the process of becoming like a little child, the beginner's mind. Chiron is often associated with health crisis, with physical challenges that lay us up in the hospital bed or slow us down or make us not show up at work or interrupt our schedule of ego, will, force, trying to achieve some ego goal in life. Because it's time for us to go within to tap into the soul, to tap into the nature spirits, to tap into the angelic realm, the astral realm, to seek to open that third eye to psychic awareness, extrasensory perception, the multidimensional fourth and fifth dimensions in particular, nature of reality, instead of relying on this third punitive minuscule little reality for our fulfillment. Come on. Ow! So, the mantra for today, I don't know, My desire for love and affection can sometimes make a mess, as I'm headed in one direction, but wanting to explore all the rest. I have to explain this a little bit because usually the mantra is something that you repeat to yourself over the course of the week, and it has some kind of a answer in it, or it has some kind of like, you should do this, okay, but like, this is a funny kind of mantra because it's not saying that, I should do this or not do that, or here's the answer, or it's just saying, well, this is the way it is. And what I want to encourage you to do, whenever you, repeat this mantra this week, is to go for it. The final, in the end, we die. In the end, we surrender. In the end, we disassociate. In the end, we non-attach. And my experience has shown me that yes, you can get what you want when you don't overly attach to it. You don't lose yourself in it. You're not overly distracted by it, but you're playing with it, you're experimenting with it, you're exploring with it, you're learning from it, you're discovering something new about it and through it. And it's not the answer, it's not the goal, it's a means. The goal is to, return to source. And whether it's a relationship, whether it is a business relationship, whether it is your job or, whatever, your family, particularly now, there's a lot of family crisis going on for the next month, or so with Mars in Cancer. There's a lot of things pulling at us. There's a lot of demands. There's a lot of pressure. And, it's so much is just, especially on a planetary world collective scale, it's a big mess right now. But explore it. Experiment with it. And let it go. When the time is right, when the lesson is learned, when when you've grown as much as you can grow through it, let it go. This is the south node of the moon in Scorpio. Let it go. And the only way to know when to hold on and assert yourself more versus letting go is spirit, is tapping into the soul, is sitting and looking at a rock, looking at a candle for a while. Yeah, do a candle meditation. I mean, really, and then listen inwardly and trust the inner voice. And it grows louder. And you become like the old sea captain that just kind of watches the ships roll in and roll out. There's so many songs I could use for this week. Sitting on the dock of the bay is one of them. You can't always get what you want by the Stones is another one. But I'm going to go with what? Who are you? Boop, 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 doop. I really want to know. Who are you? Explore these relationships. Take that chance. Trust yourself. Don't lose yourself in them, but, garner as much as, can be had. It's a banquet has been laid out before us on this planet, and it is to enjoy, and it is to be grateful and thankful for, and to splurge a little bit once in a while. So this Sun conjunct Chiron is saying, nurture yourself. Take it easy on yourself. And don't blame yourself if it fails or doesn't work out or blah, 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 blah. Just, move on. Flow. Go with that flow, baby. Ow! One more time. My desire for love and affection can sometimes make a mess. Chaos. Mess. Love is a mess. Love is messy. Life is messy. Death is messy. Birth is messy. Anything that is transforming, is messy. So, if you're afraid of making a mess, you're not going anywhere. And that's one danger of the moon in Libra. Oh my goodness, let's keep it, nice and neat and clean and, beautiful. So, make a mess, baby. Ow! As I'm headed in one direction, the return to source, but wanting to explore all the rest. May your explorations bear fruit in self-discovery. Namaste, aloha, so much love.